The Real Opinion is brought to you by Rainstorm Car Wash. Get in and get clean today.
Hey everybody, I'm Geno Reynolds from The Real Opinion. In honor of Chicago Comic-Con being this week, I'm going to do things just a little differently today. Instead of reviewing something that's in theaters, I'm going to review something that is out on DVD. Last week, one of the best DC animated movies I have seen in quite some time was released. Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox is a brutal, action-packed, heartbreaking, and heartwarming story all in one. Barry Allen, aka The Flash, played by Justin Chambers, is visiting his mother's grave when there's a distress call from the Flash Museum. He goes to investigate and ends up in a battle with some of his supervillains, the Rogues. They are being led by his arch-nemesis, Professor Zoom, played by C. Thomas Howell, the evil Flash from the future. After the Justice League comes and helps the Flash get the better of the villains, Zoom taunts the Flash about not being able to save his mother. After the Flash and Batman, played by Kevin Conroy, talk a bit, and the Dark Knight tries to convince the Flash not to let Zoom get to him, the Flash says that he just needs to run it off, but the next day he wakes up and everything is different. The animation in this movie is top-notch. While the style might not be for everyone, I thought the pseudo-anime style really worked well for this story. The use of colors in this cartoon helped to set the tone of the entire movie. Most of the time this movie was kind of depressing and the color palette helped to tell that story. The story itself has a lot of emotion running through it. There are moments of triumph and heartbreak that will keep you invested the whole time. I was glued to my screen the entire movie wondering what was going to happen next. There is a moment at the end of the film that makes one of the characters uncharacteristically cry, and I have to admit it, I almost cried as well. The greatest asset of this movie is the voice cast. Veterans such as Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, Ron Perlman as Deathstroke, and Nathan Fillion as the Green Lantern join new stars such as Justin Chambers as the Flash and Michael B. Jordan as Cyborg to make one of the best voice casts I'd ever heard in an animated movie. I think that the standout performance belongs to Kevin McKidd, who starred in the underrated and canceled NBC show Journeyman. The problem with telling you who he plays would ruin part of the plot, but I will just say that he plays the alternate version of one of the greatest superheroes of all time. It is a very different and scary take on what would happen if somebody else became this hero. I have not read the comics this movie is based on, but now I want to. This movie has everything a fan of DC superheroes would want. There is a ton of action, a great story with a lot of heart, and one of the best old school, new school voice casts I've ever heard. While I will not say this is my favorite DC animated film of all time, that honor still goes to Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, I will say that this one has staked its claim near the top of the list. While not for a younger audience, this one would be entertaining for the more mature comic book fan. But remember, it's only just one guy's opinion. I'm Geno Reynolds from The Real Opinion. Until next time.
The Real Opinion is brought to you by Rainstorm Car Wash. Get in and get clean today.